we've been taken over by family businesses. There are almost 500 family businesses that are contributing and working. In Pakistan, we started with 22 families, and that has gone up to 31 or 32. Globally, family businesses contribute almost 65% to the GDP. 30 years back, Pakistan was far ahead than India. Now where are we and why are we here?
We look at Bangladesh. When it was part of Pakistan, their GDP per capita was substantially lower than the West Pakistan. So what happened in 1971 that today their GDP per capita is more than India also? There is a wave of optimism. India, 30 years ago, they had to pledge their gold, send jumbo jets outside of India filled with gold because they had 3 to 6 weeks left of import reserves. Leadership that has a vision to take an economy from point A to point B, they are able to provide that enabling environment. हमारे यहाँ तेल निकल आएगा और पाक चाइना फ्रेंडशिप हो जाएगी और somebody else will give us money. Nobody is going to do anything for us. We are on a trajectory of accountability and regulation, and the perception is everybody is a crook. So as the saying goes, you are innocent till proven guilty. It's exactly the opposite in Pakistan. You have to prove that you are innocent, otherwise you are guilty. And I think that has done more damage to Pakistan than any other thing I can think of. Some people think that being a Seth or an entrepreneur is a bad thing. Mukesh Ambani is a hero in India, but here the businessmen, everyone is trying to find out their tax returns, if they've done anything which is illegal. I've looked at businesses in Bangladesh and India. If they went through the same scrutiny as in Pakistan, I think 90% would fail.
Economies flourish, only when businesses flourish. It's vice versa. How do they flourish?
Why do we not have many more multi-billion-dollar Pakistani companies that are global brands or have an international presence or have succeeded outside Pakistan? Businesses can't flourish if the economy doesn't flourish. For a business to be big, you need either a big domestic market or you need to serve an export market. Businesses that venture overseas are usually domestic champions. In Pakistan, the domestic champions have chosen not really to venture abroad. And this is really as a result of the incentives. In Pakistan, businesses or businessmen do not want to structure business activity within a corporation, within a business. You would rather take an informal, and maybe it's because it's too regulated, maybe tax issues, documented issues. So when there is a disincentive to corporatize. If you're a first timer in business, no bank in this country is going to give you a loan. But if you are an established group, you have a privileged access to them. And there are companies in the real estate sector who, without owning the land, customers are willing to give them money. I will not have these advantages if I go to China or Malaysia. If I can make more money selling biscuits and milk to Pakistanis, why should I make electronic items for the Japanese market?
हमारी क्या प्रोडक्ट्स इतनी अच्छी हैं, हम ग्लोबली इतने competitive हैं कि हम सिर्फ अपनी डोमेन में रहते हुए, पाकिस्तान में रहते हुए compete कर सकेंगे.
Every country selects certain areas where they want to put their investment in and progress. Over 70 years, we have heavily subsidized certain industries, and they haven't really produced the kind of impact that even Bangladesh has managed to create. So we should look to new industries. The biggest opportunity by far is IT. The government has to select what industries are we going to promote and which industries will give us the fastest growth and the biggest amount of capital and the biggest positioning on the world stage. Schumpeter said, this is all about industries die and industries grow. And I'm sorry to say we have to pick the right industry. My one vote would be IT.
It doesn't have to be one industry at the cost of the other. You can streamline more, you can have more areas of priorities.
If I import coal from South Africa and make electricity in my own plant, it's half the price of the national grid. They put headlines in the newspapers, subsidies of 10 rupees. Well, your cost of production is 4 times, then you have to give subsidies. Do we know that Pakistan is the 4th largest cotton producer in the world? You want to shut down the entire textile industry and also shut down entire agriculture with it. There is no competition. It's not a zero-sum game.
कि आपने किसी भी इकोनॉमी में जहाँ पे बूस्ट लाना है, जॉब एम्प्लॉयमेंट लानी है, and as big a size as Pakistan, you can't do without the manufacturing sector. और the reason we have not done well is because हमने focus ही नहीं किया. हमारे यहाँ taxation इस तरह होती है कि it's more a tool of recovery. It is never a tool to regulate industries as per the prioritization policy. Planning तो होती है, but action नहीं होता.
Industrial tariff contains a cross subsidy to other sectors, non-productive sectors. Your gas pricing to non-productive sectors has been kept so low, while the rest of the economy, the industrial or the economy that generates wealth and employment, has been charged higher. The government crowds out the private sector. 80% plus of all loans of all go to the government. The government's footprint in the economy is about 70%. We don't have the hunger. That hunger is missing in Pakistan, which makes companies grow. There is a lack of trust. Unless you are able to have a number of directors or professionals running your businesses and you can trust them, you will not grow beyond what you can control yourself. Why is it that India has a savings rate of over 30% and our savings rate is 11%, I believe now? Average Bangladeshi firm that exports, it's 3 times the size of the average Pakistani firm that exports. The difference between Bangladesh and Pakistan is that the footprint of the government over there is purely on the side of regulation rather than being in business themselves. 2
industries that have flourished a lot. One is industry of accountability and then the other is regulation. With these 2 industries there, businesses find it really difficult to flourish.
If I want to buy a laptop computer and I paid cash 100,000 rupees, but if I want to buy it in Nishad Chunia, I'll have to take 10% withholding tax and 17% sales tax. That I have to add to the price. Nobody is going to pay for it. अगर कोई गैर शरई और गैर अखलाकी काम नहीं है तो करने दें. क्यों हम हर चीज़ को रोक के बैठे हुए? हम कोई काम नहीं करने देते किसी को. कोई पैसा बनाता है तो हम कहते हैं भाई बताओ तेरे पास आया कैसे. हमें तो उसको सितारा इम्तियाज़ देना चाहिए कि तुमने प्रॉफिट किया, लेकिन हम तो उसको गाली देते हैं. Even today, Bangladesh in Europe has a status called EBA. EBA का मतलब क्या है? Everything but arms. हम लोग तो आपस में लड़ रहे हैं. हम कहाँ से तरक्की करेंगे? हम तो यहाँ टैक्स लगा लगा के ख़त्म कर देते हैं. जो आता है गोरा उसको हम एयरपोर्ट पर रिसीव करते हैं. जो फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर आता है उसके लिए हम एक कॉन्फ्रेंस करते हैं. जो लोकल आता है उसको नैब के दफ्तर भेज देते हैं. वाई कांट अ लोकल इन्वेस्टर गो एंड डू दिस रेकोडेक इन बलोचिस्तान? हमें बाहर का इन्वेस्टर क्यों चाहिए? हमारी कैपिटल मार्केट का इतना साइज़ छोटा क्यों हो गया? 30 साल पहले तो इससे बड़ा था. और ये जो बिजनेसेस है ना फैमिली, व्हेन दे बिकेम अ साइज, इनके पास मजबूरी है. दे हैव नो चॉइस बट टू प्रोफेशनलाइज. आप उनको वहाँ तक जाने ही नहीं देते.
The government is supposed to be a competition advocate, you know. This competition commission had to do that policy advocacy, I agree, but basically we are pro-business. We want businesses to grow. We are not against making profits. It's just the abuse of the power that we were restricting. It's the unfair play that we had to check.
20 साल से आपने किसी को बैंकिंग लाइसेंस नहीं दिया.
Yes.
आप किसी को बैंकिंग लाइसेंस दें और इतना रेगुलेटेड है ये कि आप तो कहते हैं ये जो सीईओ है बैंक का, ये तो बिल गेट्स भी नहीं बन सकता पाकिस्तान की किसी बैंक का सीईओ. यहाँ तो खैर बिल गेट्स किसी नॉर्मल कंपनी का भी नहीं बन सकता क्योंकि वो बीए पास नहीं है. पब्लिक लिमिटेड कंपनी का सीईओ बनने के लिए आपको एक इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस में 3 दिन का जाके कोर्स करना पड़ता है. स्टेट बैंक ऑफ पाकिस्तान जो है वो नया बैंक नहीं आने देता. अमेरिका में 15,000 बैंक है. फ्री मार्केट इज द वे टू गो. देयर इज नो अदर ऑप्शन.
Yes.
मैं बार बार कहता हूँ कि पीपल विल डू व्हाट दे हैव एन इंसेंटिव टू डू. लेकिन ये पाकिस्तान से बाहर लोग कार्टेल्स अगर बना सकते हैं, दे डू मेक इट. And you know, let's give the example of the cement industry. It's well known that there is a cartel.
Yes.
And why should they not do? They are doing it for in the interest of their shareholders. उन्होंने पाकिस्तान के खातिर काम नहीं करने, इन्फ्लेशन को कम नहीं करना है, वो करेंगे जो उनकी शेयर होल्डर्स के लिए. Now this is the job of the regulators. It was the first solar company that was installing solar systems on a large scale. हमें एक दिन अल्टरनेटिव एनर्जी डेवलपमेंट बोर्ड से और बिल्कुल हमारा काम ही उन्होंने स्टॉप कर दिया कि हम आपके उस वक्त हमारे कोई 600 कस्टमर थे कि हर कस्टमर को फ़ोन करेंगे और उनसे पूछेंगे कि आपको कोई मसला तो नहीं है. यू आइदर हैव टू मच रेगुलेशन और यू हैव टू लिटिल रेगुलेशन.
इसको ये जस्टिफाई नहीं कर सकते हम कह के कि बाहर भी कार्टेल्स होते हैं तो हम यहाँ भी करें. आई वुड लाइक टू स्टॉप हियर एंड आस्क क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम द ऑडियंस एज वी हैव लेस टाइम.
आप लोगों को फेवर चाहिए रियासत से या लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड चाहिए? रियासत या खुसूसन रियासत के वो इदारे जो वो किसी कानून को अकाउंटेबल नहीं है, उनको बिजनेसेस चलाना चाहिए और उस इदारों के बिजनेस चलाने की हमारे मुल्क और उसकी मैशियत और उसके बिजनेस पर क्या असरात है?
The biggest thing is that is a businessman looking for protection, or can you actually step out into the open competitive world? All businesses in Pakistan, and I've looked at them, have no budgets for R&D. You guys develop no new product. You guys have very little export. Why don't we believe in R&D? Why don't you, and third thing is, why don't you believe in using the financial markets? I've heard this enough कि government के loans have 6-70% or whatever. What about the stock market? I mean, there are two forms of financing, equity and banks. You guys love banks. Why? Because it's cheaper, easy to default on, or why can't you sell equity?
The businessmen have an incentive to go into protective sectors. You either do it through industrial policy. For example, in Korea in the early days, they said, "Ji, if you want the right to manufacture cars for the domestic market, you need to export a certain amount." कि लोगों को in general काम करने दें, get out of the way of businesses, and generally a lot of these things will improve. And जो family groups हैं वो अब इतने बड़े हो गए हैं कि वो capital खुद अब easily बैंक से नहीं raise कर सकते, और वो अगर स्टॉक मार्केट जाएंगे तो अगर मैं CEO हूँ और मेरा बेटा CFO है और मेरा कज़न CEO है तो कोई हमें पैसा नहीं देगा. सो मजबूरन family businesses will professionalize in order to tap into capital markets and also in order to attract talent, because people will not want to work for family businesses.
And the one biggest question, if the government had to only ask one question, it should be, how can we unlock the entrepreneurship spirit of people in Pakistan? And a lot of it can come without big subsidies, without big investment. We don't need 22 families anymore or 31 families. We need 10,000 entrepreneurs. And that should be our goal. How do we create 10,000 entrepreneurs in this country who will take Pakistan to the next level? And they can.
स्टेट का रोल है लोगों को एक तालीम बहुत सस्ती प्रोवाइड करना, गुड क्वालिटी की, जिसमें स्टेट मिजरेबली फेल हो गई. और यहीं से हमने एलीट कैप्चर क्रिएट किया है, क्योंकि 80-90% लोग आपके मैट्रिकुलेशन सिस्टम में जाते हैं. और आप अपनी पाकिस्तान में बिज़नेस फैमिली देख लें, ब्यूरोक्रेसी देख लें, मेरे ख्याल में अब तो मिलिट्री भी आप देख लें, तो ये सब O लेवल और A लेवल के बच्चे. सिस्टमेटिकली हमने 80-90% लोगों को कंपटीशन से बाहर निकाल दिया. अब आपस में जो हम 10% रह गए, हम आपस में खेलेंगे और हम मजाक करते रहेंगे और हम ये इंटेलेक्चुअल किस्म के सवाल भी पूछते रहेंगे कि जी आप प्रोटेक्टेड इंडस्ट्री में क्यों जाते हैं? अरे भाई, कोई गैर शरई गैर अखलाकी काम है. स्टेट ने बनाई क्यों प्रोटेक्टेड इंडस्ट्री? इंडस्ट्री को देना है या नहीं देना, ये स्टेट का काम है. और अगर वो इस मुल्क के अवाम के लिए बेनिफिशियल है तो ज़रूर दें, और अगर नहीं है तो मत दें. हमारा काम नहीं है ये.
आप लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड तब क्रिएट करेंगे जब आप मेयार की एजुकेशन देंगे और सारे प्लेयर्स को उस मार्केट में पार्टिसिपेट होने देंगे. थैंक यू.